Yeah, and we are live. Hi, guys. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Greeting you all according to your time zone. Like I promised you guys yesterday evening, I did a short go live to tell you guys about today's section and how I'm going to bring amazing couple. They're going to share us their story. So then I won't go deep down. Now, remember, this is opportunity where you can learn. You can also get inspired with their journey because, like I tell you guys, all parents, most of us, all want one thing: time and financial flexibility. So we can do whatever we want at our time and at our pace. Now, with no further ado, I'm going to let them in now. So, drum roll. Hi, 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 hi.
Hello, hello. Hi, Sonia. Thanks for having us here.
Hi, hi, hi. I'm so excited to have you guys here.
Okay.
So, guys, if you're going to watch on replay, do let us know where you're watching from, your question, your comments, reach out and ask questions. Remember, a question asked is that I will have answer to. And if you don't ask, the answer will always remain no. So, let's go over to Dave and Roxanne. So, a quick one. Can you guys tell us little intro about yourself?
Yeah, the beautiful thing about this online business is that we live here in Calgary. You're in Ontario,
Turner.
Toronto, and but originally I'm from the Philippines. I moved in 1996. I was about 14 years old. My background is engineering. Engineering was good, but engineering wasn't good for me, right? So I had a sickness called alarm clockitis. Your viewers may know what I mean. When the alarm clock goes off, you want to just snooze and sleep some more, but it rings because you have to go to work. So loved, I wanted to chuck the alarm clock to the wall because I hated my job. I took a leap of faith way back 15 years ago. And my first business was in financial services, and there is where I met my beautiful wife. I was her manager, so I managed her really well because I know her. Prior to the online business, I was a general manager, and I do this full time
Yes. Again, thank you, Sonia. I love your energy.
now.
For me, I moved here from the Philippines as well in 2004 with my mom, with my parents and siblings, and of course, I took for my college. I took paralegal because I wanted to become a lawyer because I thought that's the only way to get ahead. Those the high
Earn
paying,
high income, yeah.
yeah, those high paying careers. I thought that's the only way, and when I saw, a business opportunity at the time, I was like 19, 20. My mind opened that there's a different way, that there's another way that I can become successful, become rich, right? So that's when I met my husband. And then, I have this dream that I wanted to help my parents retire in their retirement. And I knew that even though we have great jobs, it's not enough for, to give more. It's just enough for the two of us and our future kids at the time. So, we did some side hustles aside from our careers. And prior to the online business in 2018, that's when we found the online business, and I was working in the government in finance. And now, 3 years later, I'm now full time working with my husband.
Yeah, yeah. So, with all this, career minded, all the whole financing and all that, while he's gonna ask yourself, like, you're very comfortable, like you're working with the government, you're having the money come in, why do you think? I think I need to do something else aside my financial job, my government job. What was your pain, your struggle, even with working in your own, the career that you are enjoying in? So what was your pain? Like you guys, the both of you, what was your pain and struggles?
A lot of your viewers can relate to this. That I think when we were born or when we were a child, we have big dreams, like become an astronaut, go to the moon, buy your parents big houses, right? But then when life hits you, you realize that what, you have a big dream, but your income is small,
Mhm.
right? And there's only really two options, and a lot of people, option number one is says, what, that was a kid back then. I wasn't really thinking. I wasn't thinking about real life. Most people will take their big dream and shrink it to the size of their paycheck, and they settle. They say, what, this is what life handed me. God has given me this small paycheck. But there's the second kind of people, and I pray that the people that are watching this, the people that are, the people that are going to be tuning in the replay. The second people, the kind of people, they will look for a solution.
Mhm.
They will pray for a divine appointment, and they take that small income and then increase it the size of their dreams, right? And we're the second kind of people. We didn't want to settle because we knew that the income we're making, even from our corporate job, pretty good corporate jobs, it's just going to be enough for us and our future kids. And we want to become full-time parents so we can instill Christian values. Plus, not only retire ourselves, but take care of Roxanne's parents because my parents died already. So that income was enough. That's why we started to look for other things. And
Yeah. I think for us, like our pain before the online business also was because in North America we're very comfortable, right? But even though we have great careers, it's still not enough. We, for some reason, we accumulated a lot of consumer
yes,
debts. So we were like over 86,000 of consumer debts, and like we didn't know how to get out from that debt. I was thinking to maybe get another degree, and go back to school, or maybe get a second job, right, just to pay that off. But when we prayed, I remember praying to God to heal our finances, to lead us to the right solution. And a few months later, after we prayed, God showed us the way, and one of them is the online business. So that's why we took that leap, and we're grateful that we found that.
When you said pray, I just remember the first when I click on you guys' ad, I did same thing. Like I'm always telling people, sometimes God answers our prayer, but it's
Hmm.
left for us to make that decision. Mine was the same evening. My daughter asked me if the way I work is how all adult works, because we always get caught up in our job, trying to get it, going back and forth. And she asked that question in the evening. I was trying to go to bed and I couldn't sleep. I just wanted to put on the scripture, like the 24-hour scripture on YouTube when I
yeah.
saw you guys' ad. And I'm like,
Wow.
God, is this an answer to the prayer or do I have to scroll over? I did a long, intense prayer. And I always tell people sometimes God just give you a very simple answer to your prayer. It's left for you to know whether this is the way because
Mm.
He will only send men to your way. He will not appear Himself to make things work out for you. Okay, so over to the next question. So, of all, I know, you guys always share your story, which is very touching, the whole emotional part roller coaster of all the businesses you've tried in the past before coming and having this online business, which my Roxanne was skeptical
Yes.
in the first place. One would think like, why did you decide this is the business for you? Like, of all my businesses we've tried and tried, this is the one we want to, try out again, maybe for the last time to see if we're really in for a business.
Yeah, I love sharing this story because this is really kind of a pain for a lot of people because the people that like us, that are, the second kind of people that start to search to increase their income to the size of their dreams, they also try a lot of things like we did, right? And just the only difference is that they quit before they before they make it.
Hmm.
So it turned out to become a blessing. I always share this is because trying a lot of things, we saw the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? We've tried things that had horrendous products, right? But the system was okay, right? We also tried things that have good products, good systems, but they just have no way to get customers, right? Good companies have good culture. So when we saw this, we knew it solved two of the biggest problems that would be entrepreneurs, because that was our problem, right?
Hmm.
Our problem was that we just run out of customers all the time, and the only way they say, here's a product, here's a system, you have a website, right? Tell your friends and family, and that was the only way.
Yeah.
And in fact, we became sort of the members of the NFL, right? In our church, every time they, because we're kind of the leaders of our ministry too. Sometimes like, oh, Roxanne's reaching out to me again. What is this thing that's gonna reach out to me? What's this other new thing that they're doing? And our prayer was that, Lord, give us something that we don't have to depend on friends and family. It will train us to have a sustainable way to acquire customers. That was the first thing. The second thing I knew is because of the system that was in place, the problem we had, because we had a little bit of success in some of our businesses, but the problem with that is the more successful we became, the more we had no time for
Yeah.
ourselves, because typically people were only available in the evening, so our customers were available in the evening. So in the evening, we had to go to their houses weekends, right?
Yeah.
It was just kind of it was really tiring. So those kind of the two things I saw. There was a system, and they actually teach you use social media to get customers, right?
Yeah, and because I asked him, like, I was skeptical after many, many businesses, right? I thought it's gonna be the same. I don't want to, do it all over again and, get burned and all that and get tired of, the grind and all that. So I really asked him, do we need to approach our friends and families, right? And also, one of good thing he said no. So that's why we're doing YouTube, Facebook ads, and all that.
And we tested it, right?
Yeah, and we tested it. We make sure that,
We didn't approach
yeah,
anybody,
yeah, like,
including our family.
yeah, we, because we live in in Alberta, Canada, right? So you can actually target, like, all of Canada except for Alberta, for example. That's what we did. And then other countries, like, you can exclude certain cities, certain location, right? And that's what we did. And we tested it and it worked, right? And another thing that I like about online business, why we like it, because almost all our businesses before is that it's limited to our own city, it's limited to our own country. We cannot, deal with other countries like USA or Philippines or, UK, Australian, those,
Singapore.
Singapore, like different countries, right? And that's what I love about it, because we can operate it in different countries. And our dream was really to earn dollars and live somewhere else, live somewhere warm,
The
right?
Philippines.
Live in the Philippines, or live, like,
They call it now geo arbitrage. You live in a uh, geographically you earn dollars, but
yeah,
you live in a country where it's cheaper cost of living wise, right?
yeah. So that's what I think, why we chose the online business out of, different kinds of business, because you can buy, franchise or other kind of business, but that's why we chose
Limited
the,
locally. Yeah.
yeah, because like we travel a lot. And even if you travel, you can still bring your business and you still earn, and that's what really attracted us.
Yeah.
Wow. So what I'm hearing is having a unlimited global reach of audience, also
Mhm.
being able to go everywhere with your business, and with the learning people in Africa, the geographical stuff, they are in
Yeah,
Africa, but they are earning in pounds, in euro,
that's
So this
right.
is also also great and wide, because those are the things that actually made me, because I didn't want anything that would tie me down somewhere.
Mhm.
Already the full-time job is tiny, like taking
Yeah.
me out of my children, out of my everything I want to do and I enjoy doing. So having something that's gonna still make me go open a store or something and try sit down all day looking for people was not even one of it at all. And I remember when I was doing all the prayer, I'm like, I am not even very good with social media. How do I go about it? And having an expert like the training being something I can plug, play, and all that.
Yeah.
And sometimes my husband is in IT. So when I do something like, how do you, I'm like, don't worry, I'm already far ahead of you. you know, with his whole telecom stuff and me having my own at the back, he is very surprised, like how far, I've grown as a person in terms of what I've learned in the business, everything I know. I didn't know that in my career because no one teaches you all these things. You're not saying you don't know nothing. You just know the basic computer, Microsoft documentation and all that. But right now, I think I can hold a full-time YouTube and Facebook training.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know that this were your, knowing you've done 24. I know that you guys always say 24 businesses, and these are like the 25th
Yeah.
businesses. Having seen a little bit of success and what you're seeing now, what is the biggest result or change that have happened? And with this one, I always say the spotlight is on you right now. To share since you started your business, I think 5 years ago. You guys always do your yearly anniversary. What has been the biggest result? Because I can tell you guys, number one result is creating an amazing leader. When I mean leaders, like that is something that is very close to my heart. Having success that others can emulate, same templates. That is legacy you're building, not just for yourself or your immediate family, but for others. And I'm going to, like I always tell you guys, I give it to you for having the number one thing that most businesses don't have, which is creating a template that similar leaders are going to emulate, do same thing, and help other people create it. So I'm tipping off that one from you. So now you have the rest of it to tell us. For the five
Yeah.
years you've been on this online deal, what has been the
Yeah.
biggest result or change that you guys have really witnessed and experienced?
Yeah, we can be here all day. It's been 5 years. There's a lot of things that happened, but I want to take your audience back to when we started because it's really important to know, because so that they can relate to us. So when we started the business, in October 2018, because of the 24 businesses we've tried, as Roxanne said, we accumulated $86,000 in consumer debt, right? We had almost like no savings. We were
Mhm.
like so behind, right? So I had more gray hairs growing than I wanted to because there was creditors calling left and right, and your audience can relate to this, because debt is huge in North America, and you don't think it. I call it death by the small cuts. You one credit Christmas here, one gift there. Before you know it, is a mountain of debt, and you can't sleep. And that was our situation, and we were this close in quitting our entrepreneurial dream. And if you're that person, I encourage you. You're not only this close, you could be one this next business away, like us.
Mhm.
Because if we did not take that leap, we wouldn't be here. So one of our biggest first result was that in 16 months we paid off all of that $86,000 in consumer debt, and that was a huge relief. When you're debt free, you can
Mhm.
sleep good at night. Your smile is bigger, your jump is higher, right? Your hug is just more tighter, right? The sun just for some reason shines brighter, right? Because you have no debts. You're debt free. The Bible says, the borrower is a slave to the lender, right? And
Mhm.
we weren't the chains of was shackled, and now the next generation changes because of that. That's huge for us. That was big for me. I was like, wow, this actually works. That's one of the biggest things that for me in the beginning, anyways, right?
Yeah, I think I remember like we argue, like we have great relationship except for the finances. We argue a lot in finances because like I get scared like, oh, do we have enough in the bank account if like the other like it's pre-authorized that there's going to be debited there. I get scared, right? And sometimes when I talk to him, he will say, "Oh, don't look at it because you're gonna attract more." Like he's into love attraction, and then like he doesn't wanna look at the debts, right?
It
So
wasn't a budget; it was a fight. Every time we thought we
yeah.
put it together.
And like especially with the Christmas season, like I
Yeah,
love
yeah, that was
gifts.
stressful Christmas.
Like but then like we will argue because we I will give gifts and we don't have that in the budget. So it's really not we're not in
Maybe
a
half
good
of that, the 86 was from the gifts. No, I'm just
no.
kidding.
Yeah, so like it's really like I think it's because of the online business, it's a big help for us financially. And also we were living for 10 years in an apartment, two-bedroom apartment, and it's very old, like there's cockroaches sometimes, right? And like it's
Elevator when you get out, it wasn't level, and we were scared to invite our friends because we're like, is this safe? The button is like there's no number. It's like one of the buttons like cut in half. We're like, what floor am I going to, right?
yeah, like we're ashamed to invite people, right?
Uh,
But I think after like 2 years, we're able to save up 10% for the down payment. We cash flow, we save up for the furnitures, right? So we were able to buy a brand new home in 2021. And then,
it's wild because we hired a designer. That's the first time we've ever done
yeah,
anything like that, and it's like your life can change in a very
yeah,
short period
very
of time.
short period of time. And then, so that we bought it in January 2021. And then just recently, last month, November 2023, we're able to pay it off in full. So that's a big,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
we're
huge.
mortgage free, we're debt free. So it feels great to be able to do that because now we don't have the big chunk of our expense to pay for that. And lastly, just I think a couple of weeks ago, I was able to give my mom a gift, a surprise
Yeah.
gift. Um, Now I'm able to help her in retirement. She doesn't need to go back to work.
At first, she didn't get it because we gave her a card. It says you have a permanent. It says like there's like a vacation. It's like you have a permanent vacation now.
Vacation.
It's like what does it mean? Like it's like, am I going to Mexico? What's happening here?
I told her you don't have to come back to work.
You're replacing
Uh,
your monthly income, right?
yeah, so her last day is on December 29, and then after that, she can do whatever she wants. And I'm happy to be able to do that to help her out. Like both of
Wow.
us be able to do that. And of course, being able to just spend time with our son, I think
That's
that's
huge for
really
me. Yeah.
priceless. That now, like we can be home anytime, like we can bring him anywhere, right? Just being because we don't have of course a job, right? We have a business, so we're full-time. So
And recently because he's two now, he's about to go, go to school. We were able to just kind of without blink of an eye, we just went to a Christian school, a private school, that to say, you know what, we can afford it. I mean, it's not cheap, but because of the online business, we're able to do it because we want, again, our one of our goal is to instill Christian values, and it's the formation of the child. And again, we would never be able to do any of this, right? If we did not take a leap of faith when we started. Again, we're $86,000 in consumer debt, right? Some of you have less debt than us. Some of you have no debts, right? So what I'm trying to say is that if we can do it, anybody can, because we're more lost than anybody here.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I hope that kind of answered your question there.
Yeah, sometimes I'm gonna put it down into perspective, and a lot of people don't understand when we say people are mortgage free. Like we
Yeah,
are looking at huge chunk of six figures that people pay for over 25 years being paid out with before 3 years, like
Yeah.
within 2 years, space of 2 years, and within 5 years, pay off 86,000 worth of debt. This is some people who are about to be kicked off because I remember they watching the video where Roxanne was crying. These are people who was at the deep because a lot of people think that I need to be wealthy to start a business or I need to have it all together before I can start a business. They just don't want to take the leap of faith because they think they're at the lowest point in their life. And one thing I've seen in the business is the transformation that it does for people who really have seen that even if I continue doing the same thing, I won't still get ahead or anywhere closer. Another good thing I pick is having a destination to where you want to go to.
Yeah.
It's
absolutely.
okay for every one of us to make dreams and goals and vision, but where do you want to drive to? Like you can't just step outside and you put a car on and you just drive. You have a destination where you want to be boss free at some certain time. You want to retire your mom. Like that has been the like all the time. Your word you want to do, and as the Bible says, keep saying it. Like your affirmation has to be strong enough that the devil will hear it and just be humble.
Mm,
You kept on the affirmation, you walk towards your dream of being home with your son, which you're seeing happen is actually happening live, at the very front. So the takeaway, guys, for you guys, I always say, don't forget your affirmations. Like, don't let nobody pull you down from it. Your dreams are big enough. You can even continue adding to the dream. I learned that from Dave sitting right here. Don't limit yourself, right? If you just started to buy a house, or maybe you've not even bought a house, go out there and take a picture of the house you want to buy, put it in
mm.
front of you, see yourself inside the house. They will always say, cut off the person's head and put your own.
You learn well.
I do that a lot. Like with all the things I want to achieve, I cut off your head, I put my head there, and it's on my vision board. So do that because I see that happen in your life with
Mm,
instilling Christian values, supporting the missionary work, and everything you want to do is what you really want to do. You
mm,
know, that is what the business have done. Now, for the final question, before we round up, like I just hit before, a lot of people are at the lowest point.
yeah.
I see some people do the coaching call, and the next thing they're like, oh, when I remove this particular amount, to put investment, I don't think we can, go ahead in the next maybe emergency fund and all that. And they miss it. Sometimes I explain, I'm like, okay, you can't catch the vision if you're not ready for the mission. So what is your word to someone? You've been there, like you've been at the lowest bottom, you've been at that point where people are controlling you, the alarm clock is controlling your life, everything ongoing, but you decided this is it.
Yeah.
What will you tell your 5 years person, like your 5 years human? What will you tell your 5 years Roxanne, Dave, right now?
Yeah. I think because like I can relate to people that are skeptical, right? Like I was very skeptical because I was scared. I got hurt already, and I was ready to settle and just say, oh, it's probably entrepreneurship is not for me, right? Because we failed in so many, right, so many businesses before. But what I love about, good thing I have a supportive husband. What I love about him is that he's a great salesman. He let me think this way. He asked me, okay, if we don't do, let's say we don't do anything, we're just gonna work, right? And maybe in the next 3 to 5 years, what do we have, right? Maybe we'll just pay off our debts, right? Maybe, right? Or what if we do both, right? Have your job, have your corporate jobs, right? And at the same time, build a business on the side. What could we have? right, in the next 3 to 5 years. Maybe we'll have more freedom. Maybe we'll pay off the debts. Maybe we'll be, financially get ahead,
We'll
right?
be free.
We'll be free, right? And good thing I thought about it and says, yeah, if I don't do anything, what would be my life would be, right? So, that's what, made my mind open. And I always believe in this. We always believe in this, that if God has given you those dreams in your heart, he will always provide all the resources,
Mhm.
right? Don't look at the current circumstances. Don't look at your finances right now, right? Take care of what you have, but at the same time, do something different, right? It's not an accident that you're here, you're watching this, and like God will provide all the resources, all the people that you need, the talents that you need, the money that you need, the time that you need. Like if you don't have the time, like we were busy as well when we started this business.
Yeah.
We're busy with our ministry, we're busy with our family, with extracurricular activities, right? So when we were doing this online business, we were doing this during our break time, our lunchtime, after work. We sacrifice in the beginning, but after, give this like a year or 2 years of really like working 100% commitment. And the beauty about this is you're not alone. You have the mentors, the coaches. You have, an amazing mentor here, Sonia, right? And we're here to support as well. So good thing I listened to my husband, because now we're in this position. I always look back. We sometimes we reflect and say,
What
what
if?
if we didn't do this? Where would we be? We're
Yeah.
still gonna be stuck on that apartment. Maybe our son will be eating the cockroaches when walking. I was like, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? Like maybe, what would be our life will be, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we're still have, maybe out of the 86,000, we'll probably pay off what, 20,000 out of that,
Mm.
right? 40,000, because if you only have your job, you only have that limited amount of extra money, right? Some
Mm.
people don't have extra money. At the time, we don't have extra money, but we
Yeah.
had to find ways to how to earn extra, and that's why we became open to the online business.
Well, I want to say to those people that are in their lowest point, right? That one thing we didn't realize is that when God, has a dream that placed in your heart, right?
Mm.
It's not usually fast food. You don't drive
Yeah.
through to McDonald's and you get it right away. It's home cooked meal. It's crock
Mhm.
pot. It takes time because you get it molded. You put a crock pot. It takes 8 hours, but it's so good, right? And so my message is that it's sometimes the in between. People don't see the in
Yeah.
between,
Yeah.
right? The dream is planted, but the in between, and it's not your time; it's God's time, right? And the question is, can you stick it through, right, to get there, right? And a lot of people can't because they can't see the end. That's why I always tell people you need to borrow other people's dreams over and over so you can get to the finish line, right? Whatever your finish line is, right? So if this inspires you, watch this over and over. Watch other people because let me tell you, once you get there, it's 1000% worth it because you're going after the dreams that God planted in your heart. Because if not, the other option is to settle,
Hmm.
right? But strategically, the reason why we get paid is because most people, when they think of earning more, they always go back to linear income, which means that they go back to a job,
Yeah.
right? Well,
Getting more
the only way to
educated.
earn
Yeah.
more is to do something else, and the reason why we get paid here is because we learn how to we learn a new skill, high income and high leverage skill, right? High income and high leverage. Most the skills that you earn when you go back to school, it's there's no leverage because you're basically lending your skill set to an owner of the company, right? Wholesale, and they'll retail your skills, right? Because you're working for them, right? So you need to find a way so that you can get a leverage skill. And the reason why we get paid a lot here because we learn we've solved the biggest problem in any business, which is getting customers. And when you can do that, you can be employable anywhere, right? So that's social media advertising, right? When you get good at that, that's high income and high leverage strategically, right? But it takes time to learn it, right? Just like anything else. The in between, So people have to go through that to get to the other side. But it can change in such a short period of time. It's just mind blowing because when you have leverage in skills, it's just like you can't. It's impossible to pay 25, a 25-year mortgage in 3 years if
Yeah.
you have linear income. If you work for someone, you gotta think outside the box and do something else. Because if you've been doing that for 10 years and it got you to where you are, that means you have to do something else, right? So, long answer to a short question.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
that I hope that can help your audience.
yeah, and also for your viewers, like, because sometimes we give up too quickly. So don't give up. Like, sometimes you look at your where you are right now is just temporary, right? Where
Mhm.
you are right now is a result of your past actions, past experiences,
And
but
thoughts.
in thoughts, right? So how you can change that is to start, just like Sonia said, is start affirming. Affirming God's promises over your life, that you're highly favored, that you are being guided to the right solutions, right? And like, stick to, have that vision in your on your mind, in your heart, and believe that God is good in your life, because we always believe in this, that like, if like, Christians are meant to like, they're meant for greatness,
Yep, yep.
because they're supposed to share God's love through their work, through their business, through their, if you have that leadership position, you're meant for more, to bless
You
others.
can influence
You can
more
influence more. So
in good ways.
believe in God's promises, and even if you're scared to try something new, don't be, because you will be, we have a free webinar that you can sign up. It's not for everybody, of course, right? But if you decide to work with us, you're in great hands. So we're excited for you, and we're here to support you.
Okay, guys, if you're watching this, let's know where you're watching from and feel free to drop any question. If they don't answer it now, I'm going to get them to answer it for you
That's right. Yeah.
for you later. Okay, so we're going to wrap up. Thank you so much for honoring the invitation. And I hope if you're watching this that you have questions or concern which we've handled here. Let me know if you have more questions. Remember, like I tell you guys, we are always open to reach out because the vision, the mission is helping families change the narrative in terms of their finances and in terms of leveraging and have more time for their family and build a legacy of time, legacy of memory, and legacy of finances that their children are going to grow into. Because I have my daughter tell me, how you guys work? Is it how we're going to do our own kids? So it's your time to change the narrative of how the norm that you have been known of. And from us, you guys, have an amazing Monday evening and God bless you all.
That's it.
Bye for now.
Bye.